I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, meeting agenda statement. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. And item 5, approval of minutes. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the minutes of the special meeting of March 3rd, 2015, and the special and regular meetings of March 10th, 2015. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Savage? Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Mattson? Any discussion? I do have one item. I do believe on the March 10th meeting we have the 5-year forecast listed.
On the March 10th?
I believe on March 10th has the 5-year forecast presentation listed. Right on, treasures. It's not on your copy? Okay. That's fine. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Siselic?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barkov?
Yes. Recommendation statement. Following are recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting. The board member wishes to remove any items from the agenda for further discussion prior to taking action. Please let either the superintendent or board president know. Approval of the consent agenda. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of April 14th, 2015 as presented.
May I make some corrections?
Please do.
Item number 14.4, we're going to remove, and it will be on the May agenda. Item number 14.6, Mr. Fabian will be issued a 1-year limited contract and he pays at a step 2, masters plus 30. Item number 14B3, Mrs. Paducah will be issued a 1-year probationary contract and will be paid at a step 1 of the building secretary's salary schedule. D will be 2014, 2015. 14.5, please change to 14.15, 2014-15.
Any other changes? Hearing none, entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion.
Mr. Petek?
Second.
Mr. Stahl? Roll call, please.
Peter?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Siselic?
Yes.
Mattson?
Aye. Yes.
Barkov?
Yes. Superintendent special guest.
Yes, thank you very much. If I could please, if I could ask our students of the month to please move to your right, my left, and join your principals over to your right. And we're going to ask that you come right in the middle of this table when you're introduced so we can get a good shot of you on the camera for the television station.
I am very pleased to present Ethan Justice. Ms. Kala had some, can you see him? Had some very nice things to say about him. Ethan is a shining star of the primary building. He embodies all of the Buckeye basics. He shows responsibility by always coming to school prepared and trying his best at everything he does. He is respectful to his peers and the Buckeye staff, and he's always willing to lend a hand and put a smile on somebody's face. He's able to be a problem solver when working cooperatively in small groups and many classroom settings. He's always been a good role model and a leader. His personality shines through in whatever he does. It's been a wonderful journey watching Ethan grow into such a kind-hearted and dedicated student. I look forward to all the amazing things Ethan will continue to accomplish. Congratulations, Justin.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you this evening the seniors of the month from Buckeye High School. Emily Bozar, our first one with a 3.79 grade point average. She's been in volleyball for 4 years. The past 2 years she was captain of the team. She's been in student council for 4 years, huddle for 4 years, SAD for 3. She's been in the school newspaper the last 2 years, and this year she's the editor-in-chief of the newspaper. She's been in freshman mentors for 2 years, dance team for 2 years, and captain this year. She plans on attending Kent State University with a major in communication or business management. Emily Bozar. And to my right, Tim Supek has a 3.755 grade point average. The last 2 years he's been in post-secondary option program where he's accumulated over 12 credit hours towards his college education. He's been a 2-year freshman mentor. He was a part of the E4 Summit with United Way. He was a leader in that summit program. He was in junior leadership at Edina County. He's attended Boys State. And one of the things that he commented that he really enjoyed this past summer was we attended Economics for Leaders at Cornell University and really enjoyed that program. Tim plans on attending Miami University where he's going to major in business. Tim Supek.
Wow.
I have here Buckeye Junior High Student of the Month, and this is the first time he's been up here, so I'd like to congratulate him. He was up here last year as Student of the Month. Murari Dimats Brapu. His team wrote a little thing about him, so they said, we'd like to recognize Murari as our Student of the Month. He's an incredibly bright student. He is. He's a scholar. Throughout the school year, he has strived to achieve his goals, which are above and beyond the 7th grade standards. I know he plans on doing College Credit Plus. He has some high goals. He is a member of Academic Challenge, Student Council. He participates in baseball camps. He plays the piano. He is a swimmer. Murari is currently working on an enrichment project in science class about invasive species. We look forward to seeing all of his future achievements. So congratulations to Murari. Congratulations to all the other students in the month also.
The Buckeye Intermediate School Student of the Month is Razmia Al-Nadi. She's a 4th grader in Mrs. Bowles' class. Razmia is a delightful young lady to have in class. She greets each day with a readiness to learn and takes her studies seriously. She strives to accomplish her best no matter what the task is and offers a lot during class discussions. She also goes above and beyond to help others. Razmia displays a great love for her family. She takes great pride in her siblings, parents, extended family, and heritage. Buckeye's lucky to have Razmia Al-Nadi as one of our own.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to those students. We're very proud of you and all that you do for our school district and your schools. Next, we have a number of students also that we'd like to honor this evening. Deputy Easterday, I'm going to ask him also to come forward. He didn't know I was going to say that, so I'm sure he's thrilled. Deputy Easterday works with our students in the DARE program and does just a wonderful job with those students. If I could please ask for those students who are going to read their essays tonight to please come up front and just stand right in front of our table here. We've actually taken pictures with them with their certificates probably twice and asked them to give them back. And tonight you actually get to keep them.
Okay, our DARE essay winners this year, these are 6th graders. Emily Milkey, Capri Thomas, who's not here, Sydney Bell, Zach Stapleton, Zach, come on up, Zach. Hunter Smith, who's not here tonight, Ashlyn Kelly, and Natalie Huber. Who wants to read?
Tell you what, Deb, why don't you go ahead and explain what the program is first. Give them a little bit of time to get over their shyness.
Okay. It's a 10-week course that we go through with all the 6th graders here at Buckeye. This is my 4th year being here with them. It covers bullying, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, covers all the different health effects and everything. Their essay, they have to take everything that they've learned and write an essay on everything from the very beginning to the tail end and explain what they've learned over the 10-week course. So their teachers, their language arts teachers, picked one out of each one of the 7 homerooms. They had the best essay, and these were the ones who won the award. Okay.
Nice and loud.
Do you know how many alcohol-related deaths there were last year? 75,000 people's lives were claimed by that substance. We learned that in DARE, along with topics like the DARE decision-making model, bullying, drugs, peer pressure, and communication. They are 5 very important subjects that I will apply to the rest of my life. First, Deputy Easterday taught us about the DARE decision-making model, or DDM. That stands for define, assess, respond, and evaluate. Define means to describe the problem, challenge, or opportunity. Assess means to ask yourself what your choices are. Responding is making a choice using facts and information you have gathered. To evaluate, you review your decision and ask yourself if you made a good choice. I'm going to use DDMM throughout the rest of my life, especially during difficult situations. The second topic I thought was important is bullying. Bullying is an aggressive or unwanted behavior used again and again to isolate, harm, or control another person. DARE taught me to never be a bystander during a bullying situation. I will use that knowledge and report bullying to a trusted adult from now on. Next, we learned about drugs. A drug is any substance other than food that affects the way your mind and body works. Cigarettes are an example of a drug. The best thing to do in a drug-related situation is to use resistance strategies. A few examples would be avoiding the situation, hanging out with the non-users, walking away, or changing the subject. These are effective ways I will always use to avoid drugs. Another important topic we learned about is peer pressure. Peer pressure is when people about your age try to get you to do something. In DARE, we were taught to make safe and responsible choices. That's where DDMM comes in handy. You should also ask yourself what some positive and negative consequences of your choices are. I know my knowledge about peer pressure will help me in future situations. Finally, we learned about communication. Communication is when people express their thoughts or feelings with each other. I think this topic was the most important because it is essential in every topic we learned about. When you communicate, it's always good to be confident. Act in a way that communicates your opinion while still respecting others. By doing this, I will be able to communicate more effectively now and later in life. DARE has really changed the way I look and react to difficult situations. Deputy Easterday did a great job of teaching us about DDM, bullying, drugs, peer pressure, communication, and even more topics of importance. DARE has changed my future for the better. I, Natalie Huber, pledge to follow the DARE decision-making model, never bully or not be a bystander while bullying occurs, never get involved with drugs, not fall victim to peer pressure, and use effective communication with others. harmful and even life-threatening effects of drugs, alcohol, and smoking. I also learned how to handle stress and peer pressure. I learned how to report bullying if I am ever a bystander. These are some of the main topics our dear teacher, Deputy Easterday, taught us. Deputy Easterday taught me very important things to know. One of these things we learned was using the DDMM, or Dare Decision-Making Model. It will help me through any problem or decision I will have to make. I also learned that DARE stands for Define, Assess, Respond, and Evaluate. Another thing we learned was how to report bullying anonymously. We learned different ways to communicate and decide if our communication is confident, unsure, or demanding, and how to use nonverbal communication and effective listening. All of these topics were important to me for the same reason. They will help me make better decisions in the future. Overall, I thought DARE was fun. All of these things that we learned were taught to us to keep us safe and help us make the best decisions possible. For example, we were taught the health effects of drugs to keep us alive, healthy, and live a drug-free life. Because of DARE, I pledge to never do drugs. I will live an alcohol-free life, and I will never smoke. And I will use the DDMM to help with any problems or decisions I may face. Did you know that there are more than 400,000 alcohol-related deaths each year? Or that there is rat poisoning in cigarettes? Bet you didn't. Drugs can harm and even kill you. It's not safe for others either. During the last few months, Deputy Easterday has taught us about the 5 W's DDMM, bullying, drugs, and bystanders. Bullying is an aggressive or unwanted behavior used again and again to isolate, harm, or control another person. It can have many effects. It ranges from losing a friend or leading to fights. You may be wondering how to stop this behavior. Well, you can tell a trusted adult or leave a note on the teacher's desk. Bystanders are people who stand by and watch someone else get bullied. So if you just stand around and watch someone getting pushed around, step in and help. You can tell the bully to stop pushing that kid around. Even just leaving an anonymous note to the teacher, every little thing can help. Deputy Easterday also taught us about the 5 W's. The 5 W's stand for who, what, where, when, and why, and sometimes how. This might help when reporting bullying. For example, when a teacher asks who was bullied, what happened, when did this happen, where and why, you will know what to say. Drugs are another thing Deputy Easterday taught us. Drugs are any substance other than food that affects the way your mind and body work. Alcohol is also a form of drug. It slows down the brain and body. Drugs can keep you from doing things you like to do. Mixing alcohol and medicine is dangerous too. Another health effect is memory loss and slow reflexes. The last and most important thing, in my opinion, is the DARE decision-making model. The DDMM helps us define the problem, assess, respond, and evaluate. The D stands for define, what is the problem? The A stands for assess, what are your choices? The R stands for respond, make a choice, and the E stands for evaluate, did you make a good decision? We had so much fun with Deputy Easterday during DARE. I really liked when he taught us about the 5 W's. I think they were really helpful in life. We learned so much and had so much fun. I know that if I, Emily Milkey, see someone getting bullied, I will not be a bystander. I know that drugs can keep me from doing things I like to do, so I will stay away from them. I will use the DDMM to help solve life's many challenges and be good to myself and the community. There was a very exciting class that I got to take. I now have the knowledge to make safe and healthy choices. I have also learned skills that I can use to help other people and myself. I have learned about the DARE decision-making model, resistance strategies, signs of stress, how to communicate, the 5 W's of bullying, and needing help. The things that I have learned in DARE will help me in many years to come. The DARE decision-making model will help me decide what choices are right, wrong, safe, and healthy. The decision-making model will help shape me into a good person. The resistance strategies that I learned will help me say no and stay away from things I do not want to do. The stress strategies will help me in the future because I will know when I'm stressed and I will know when I have to take a break from things. In DARE, we talked about many ways to communicate. I learned how to communicate confidently and effectively. Being able to communicate in different ways will help me in all sorts of situations. The 5 W's of bullying will help me help someone if they are being bullied. If I ever see someone being bullied, I will report it using the 5 W's of bullying. The last lesson in DARE was about needing help. Everybody needs help at least a few times in their life. I made my very own help network, and it will help you decide who you need to go to for help. When people help me, I feel cared for. As a good citizen, it's up to me to also try and help others. I learned many things throughout DARE, and I mainly describe the things that I think will help me in the course of my life. DARE was definitely a class that was helpful for me. Deputy Easterday taught me many skills that I will always remember. I think the DARE program should be taught in every school. It is very beneficial. I, Sydney Bell, make a commitment to make wise decisions about alcohol, tobacco, and drugs.
On behalf of all the kids and the teachers, I appreciate their help working through the schedule. PTO for Buckeye, they purchased the shirts for the kids this year. And Romeo's Pizza Brunswick, they donated the pizza for the pizza party on graduation day. So I want to thank all of them.
And then lastly, for our guest portion of our agenda, I'd like to ask Mr. Ryan Kearns if he wouldn't mind coming forward. I want to congratulate Mr. Kearns, and he had some students that have achieved a wonderful award this year. And as he makes his way up here, I'm going to ask Mr. Kearns to tell us a little bit about that and what our students won. And Mr. Kearns, is there art? Absolutely, by all means. Mr. Kearns, our high school art teacher, who was the catalyst behind the awards that these students won.
Now this thing is full screen. Tab 5. Oh, maybe not. That's a Mac. I don't know Mac.
Unity? Is that it? There you go.
All right. We just got back this Saturday, or this Sunday, we went down to the Ohio Governor's Youth Art Exhibition. Zach Harmon, if you could come on out, Brian Landon, and Ian Dalton will come on up and join me. Brian Landon is a two-time state juried show, getting to the state juried show. He was also a top 25 regional winner. And put that in perspective, there's usually about 2,000 student artworks in our region. Ian Dalton was also a top 25 regional winner, and he made the state juried show, which is the top 300 artworks in the state. And Zach Harmon was a top 25 state show winner. To put that in perspective, there's about 12,500 entries into this show, and that's putting Mr. Harmon in the top 0.2% in the state artistically, and it's earned some scholarship and some notable recognition for all these gentlemen. Right here is Mr. Landon at work in his studio, and this right here is his top 25 regional winner. This is Mr. Dalton at work in the computer graphics studio, and he created a 3D movie. It was what, about 3 minutes long?
Yeah, about
3 minutes long. How many frames was it?
1,886.
Incredible amount of work involved in these projects. This is his father, and Mr. Dalton installing it at the state show. Here's Mr. Harmon working on his project and his project at the regional show. I got 2 more slides here. This is our installation last week when we went down to the state show to set it up. And last is this Sunday, a couple photographs of myself with these 2 gentlemen here. I'd like to read a brief statement, and this is basically for these guys. I read this statement when I first met them in the 6th grade. I read a statement similar to it to all my incoming freshmen and sophomores, and I talk about 3 major tenets that we try to focus in on, and I just tailored it to you 3 gentlemen. Beyond the qualities of creativity, self-expression, and communication, art is a type of work. This is what art has been from the beginning. This is what art is from childhood to old age. Through art, these 3 students will learn the meaning and joy of work. Work for personal fulfillment, work for social recognition, work for economic development. And work is one of the noblest expressions of the human spirit. And their artwork is the visual evidence of work carried to the highest possible level. Art is a visual language, and these 3 gentlemen have learned to create and interpret this language. In art class, we've made visual images and we've studied images. Increasingly, these images affect our needs, our daily behaviors, our hopes, and our opinions, and ultimately our ideals. This is why I believe that an individual who cannot understand or read images is incompletely educated. Complete literacy includes the ability to understand, respond to, talk about the visual image. As an art teacher and with these students, we have worked continuously to develop this critical skill. And finally, cannot touch art without touching values. Values about home and family, work and play, the individual and the society, nature and environment. I've exposed these students to this idea, and they've dedicated themselves to the wide range of human values and concerns. They have become sensitive to the fact that values shape all human efforts, and that visual images can affect not only their personal value choices, but the value choices of others. All my students are given this opportunity to see how art can express the highest aspirations of the human spirit, and these 3 took that foundation, believed in themselves, and created some miraculous artwork. And now they're in a better position to choose what is right and good for their artistic future. And I'd like to thank them. It was my pleasure to teach you guys. They also got me a top 25 excellence award out of this too, so which is pretty impressive. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's obvious that we have some incredibly talented students, and we also have some incredibly talented educators. We want to thank Mr. Kearns for his work with these students, and all the educators that work with our students on a daily basis, and even got us back to our agenda, so thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Kearns. At this time, we know that our students have lots of work and lots of homework to catch up on at this time because of coming to the midpoint of this last quarter of the year. And I would ask, we'll take about a 30-second break. If any of our students and families would like to exit at this time to your left, please feel free to do so, and then we'll continue with our meeting in about 30 seconds.
Now we'll go on to our treasurer's financial report, please.
The Buckeye Board of Education approved the financial report, including internal budgets, amended certificates, appropriations that are on file at the treasurer's office. You also have February's financials in with March's due to my absence.
Anything you want to point out in February or March? Not really.
Yeah, next month we'll be doing the 5-year forecast, which will be the general fund general fund and the emergency fund.
All right. Is there a motion to accept? Mrs. Selledge, is there a second? Mr. Petek? Any other discussion on the treasurer's report? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Selledge?
Yes.
Petek? Stahl?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes. Financial Advisory Committee update?
We had our meeting last night. We have new board members or new committee members. Kathleen Krusnowick is from Litchfield. Michelle Gatt is from York. Katie Ranko from Liverpool, and David Cheney is still from Medina. Katie was elected the committee chairperson. We are looking into, we want to work on the surplus supplies, anything extra that we have in the district. We're going to be doing a field trip to Litchfield Elementary School next month, which I believe is May 4th. to see what we have there, and then find ways to get rid of it if we don't need it. And then we're going to go over the 5-year forecast before it's presented to the board. And then lastly, one of the members had an interest in going back through the pay-to-play, see what we can do there. And that was it.
Thank you. Anything else? Any questions on? Okay, public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items or other school topics at this time. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. Is there anyone who'd like to speak tonight?
Hello. Jennifer Greathouse. I am from Medina, and I'm a kindergarten teacher here at Buckeye. I just want to recognize the hard work of Mrs. Habercorn and Ms. McDonald for directing the musical, and of course Mr. King also of the pit orchestra. Two of my boys were in the production, and it was such a wonderful experience for them to work together. One's a senior, one's in 6th grade. I don't know if they'll ever get a chance to be in a production like that again together. And I was so thankful that it was a family-friendly production, that we could invite family and friends without any reserves, and that, especially as a primary teacher, that we could also have students from the primary schools be able to enjoy the arts, which is what we fought for a few years ago with the levy, and so it was really neat to be able to see that come to fruition in my family and in the district.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, we'll move on to superintendent's informational item.
Thank you. I have one item this evening. If I could ask Mr. Jim Kearns to come forward. He's our technology director in our district, and we wanted to just provide an update to the board and to our community on some of the details of technology in our district. We're very proud of the technology that we have in our district that we offer to our students, and I want to thank Mr. Kearns and his staff for all that they do. And he's not very good at bragging, but I've asked him to do that tonight a little bit, so he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the details regarding technology.
Well, technology is a tool used for the greater good of the education stuff that we do here. It's a lowly part of it. We aid teachers. That's where the real responsibility is. It's with the front end support for you guys is what technology is for. So it's a lowly end by us mindless guys doing this kind of work day in and day out. But I do have a presentation. It is on our technology page. I got a quick link to it right here, but if you, on your computer or your iPad, go to the Buckeye Schools, go to administration, and down there, if I can scroll down here a little bit, in technology is our web. It's not very informative, tough. We got some stuff that we use internally for us, for park testing and that stuff. But down at the bottom here is this report that I did, and it's constantly changing. It's done by a tool. It's not PowerPoint. It's done by Lucid Press, something that I will try to be pushing at the teachers this next year. It's a free product from Google. Most schools, as you'll see in this report, are turning to Google for the freeness that we get. And a lot of, I don't know, the newer teachers do use Google, and they grew up in it in college, complained about it probably in college. Now they're forcing their students to do it again, and they're complaining about it because it's so usable, both on our district and also worldwide. But the basis of what our network is goes back to a footprint that was done by your predecessors and Carolyn with their money. And I was going to do this last month, you weren't here, so I said, forget it. I'm glad you can be here.
It's not my money, it's the district's.
Well, you know. We have a backbone here which is second to none in the county. It is a 10 gig backbone. Medina, Highland, all of them wish they had a 10 gig backbone that was sponsored by this man right here to get us a 10 gig backbone and allowing us to step forward. to bring in the multimedia and the tools that we need to get things done. Google and that kind of stuff. As it's designed right here, we have Neonet is our provider. They give us our internet link to the world. They also provide tools for the financial tools that Carolyn uses. It is the slowest link that we have. Our backbone is so strong that everything is fast, but this is the slowest one. It's about 800 megs a second, which is pretty good. I would be equivalent to probably about 8,000 phone calls at a time coming in. It's that fast. It's that big. It's a big part. This is even bigger. Now the state of Ohio is driving itself up further to 100 gig backbone. Schools throughout the state of Ohio are going to have to beef up their network. We're already there. We have our 10 gig backbone. I do say down there we have 14 closets. Inside these closets we have switches. Everything that's connected. This is it. Everything is connected. This wire right here is called a Cat5. Is connected to that backbone. So this thing is delivering a gig right now to this desktop. In our district, we also have, we have 22 servers that we provide services for our people here. We have Active Directory, which is everybody has a login to the network. Everybody, that's the Active Directory one. We have DHCP. When you ask for internet and you turn your computer on, you have a network connection to the world. This is what's doing it. We have a web server, which is this thing is running off of. We have FileWave server, which manages all of our desktops. We bought that this past year. It allows us to easily reach into machines and fix them. Other sundry things are Cisco 5508 is all of the wireless that we run here. So it's a large machine sitting right back here that we have, and all the other tools that we use to manage the network and provide stuff. One was a very important we just used this past, and we're going to use it again next week, I think, park testing. So we got a server that we had to build here. The state, the day before the test, sends us the test. We log in, push it to our cache server. Students log in the next day, and they're able to get their tests. So constantly on a change, doing things all the time. Help desk. The number one thing that we do is either my phone's ringing off the hook, or I'm getting messages through help desk. And we do about 1,000 so far this year. This is last month number, so it's up about another 300. I put down there, I get about 100 phone calls, but it's really probably 400. It's on me. Every time it's putting out a fire. Somebody calls, you got to get down there and fix it. Yes, this lady knows. All a user has to do is whatever they use to log into the network, they just log into this thing. They can get it off the web page. You send us a message. It sends me an email. It sends Lori Green an email. It sends Carl an email. You will get one. Multimedia. Another thing that we do is we try to inform the public. Superintendent's interested in informing the public. So we have some tools that we use for multimedia and some servers. We have a streaming server that's used a lot at the elementary, and it's used at the junior high to support Digits, which is an online program. When Digits seems not to work, we have a backup where teachers can go to that server and get Digits. Buck TV, we have a TV station that sits over in the high school, and that TV station is just a little server that runs iTunes. It's not very expensive to do. It's not a full-fledged TV station, but Armstrong provides us a link. We send them some information. Usually, this year I want to fight to get some football games and more basketball games. I had a few of them this year. I needed more of that kind of information. We use this Discovery Education, used here at the primary school. Superintendent does Best of Buckeye. We publish that thing. And we also have a YouTube channel. on almost every page, there's a little YouTube link. And if you click on that link, it will take you to all the productions that were done within our environment. Also including the junior high. The junior high has beefed up its multimedia, and now we're going to be teaching a class relative to that. Mr. Smith here? Yes.
Right here.
And we're going to have 2 classes next year.
Yes, that's great. Exciting.
And then eventually those students will move on, and they will have to do the same kind of thing in high school. YouTube statistics are just something I threw in there to show you the kinds of hits that we get in about a week time. That 150 hits, 750 views. Just information. I'm constantly getting bombarded. This is a big deal that's happened over the last few years. We are considered a GAF school. That is Google Apps for Education, GAFE, in this thing. And I looked at this statistic last month and I was amazed at what I have seen. Students in this environment, under GAF, which is all free, created 56,000 Google files this year alone. What are you guys doing? Other statistics, the biggest one that stands out is this one. They use it a lot, and this year's been the biggest spike in the use of it. We have lots and lots of people using it. And then, we're not alone. There's a list of 2 pages of locally or area schools that are all GAF schools. Everybody's moving to it. 200, that's 150 of them. And there's thousands and thousands of them, and universities are equal to that too. Ohio State's a big GAF school. OU is a GAF school. All the universities are doing it. They're like McDonald's, are taking over the world. Google is taking over the world. We also use internal programs purchased by the elementary, purchased by the high school, purchased by the junior high. These are some, I guess, I just threw all the logos up there instead of writing words down. We use Moodle, which is an LMS, a learning management system. Just started this past year. We have, I think, about 6 or 7 teachers using it. It would be like online courses. They would create a course, create tests. Students can log in from home and they can get information through Moodle about managing a classroom and extra work that they would do relative to that. Star readers use them. This is something that we use when I'm absent. Study Island, most of these things are stuff that are used for students. Plato, I think, is used at the high school for recovery. Elementary uses a lot of nice little tools for them to manage the classroom world. This is too hard to read from back there, but I'd like you to take some time when you have a chance to read these types of things. Talk about mail. It's my opinion that email is no longer going to be supported in terms of funding, I think, relative to that. Google provides email for our district free. It's essentially right now, every student, every staff member has a Google email account. I do not allow any email from Google within our domain to go outside. You guys haven't written any kind of policy for that. Matter of fact, students don't know how to get to their email right now because we haven't taught that process. But they do have it. At some point in time, we might want to look at what we want students, especially at the high school. A student that has interested in going to college wants to use our reference here, use Google Mail to reach out to that university to talk to them. Might be something we want to consider. But something to think about. Nothing that we do right now. We use the all the other aspects of Google, but we don't use email. It's there for us to use. And they have now this year provided unlimited storage. I have 16 terabytes of storage. If you can understand what that is, it's like taking like 40,000 of these and placing them out in the driveway there. And that's the kind of storage that I have back in that room in a little box like this. I can store tons and tons of information. Every movie that was ever made, we could fit onto that machine back there. Google provides me with unlimited storage now. So you could take your information and move it up to Google and just have it there. It's just the storage. Think of it as a thumb drive. It's nothing more than that. Something else we're going to have to consider next year is testing. I don't think testing is going away. It's going to go from, we had a mixture this year of testing both on paper and online. Paper went well. Our online testing I think, quite seamless. We didn't have problems at all. A couple little things in terms of the state shutting down. We had a mistaken breaker turn off on us. We've solved that issue. But testing is something else. In terms of the amount of desktop computers and computer powers we have, we are going to have to sit down and think about next year to be able to fit all of our students in that window. And Barb's not here because I don't know what that window is going to be. Barb Dunkelman knows what that window is going to be. We're going to have to think about how do we fit all of our online testing. And I think it's only going to be online. Of course, the state hasn't made a decision yet, but they talk about it. They have been talking about it. It will be online. But get ready for online. There's a lot of schools that didn't even do online. They did straight paper. I know Cloverleaf did only paper. They didn't want to take that chance of being online. We kind of mixed it up, and I think we're successful. We're going to have to think about providing more computing power, desktops, Chromebooks, something along that line so students can do a test. I don't know what the answer is. It's something that the curriculum people are going to have to sit down and think about what we're going to do and how testing is going to be managed. Network I talked about already. I'm not going to go over that anymore. We are going to get some kind of funding. There's something called Category 2 funding. If I want to grow anything in our district right now, I want to grow the wireless, and I want to beef up some of our older switches. On our 5508 wireless network, we have every other room in the district with a access point, a wireless access point. So if we walk down the hallway here, every other room is going to have an access point. It is recommended, with testing moving on and coming in, we have an access point in every room for wireless. And at any given moment on our network, during the school day, there was about 2,500 units on our network. So we have about 800 wireless and the rest of our wired stuff. But the wireless is getting bigger. I saw it beginning of the year at about 300. Now it's up to about 600, 800 at any given point. Everybody's walking around with a phone. Equipment replacement, something we need to talk about in strategic planning, what we want to do for equipment replacement. I don't have an answer for that right now. We're pretty good in terms of equipment. Technology plan, that should be blended into that strategic plan that's coming up soon. Professional development is something that we got Lori Green here, I think, works hard at trying to get professional development done. But she spends a lot of time in the classroom, and it's important for her to be there. More of her type of person needs to be here in this environment. I've talked about LMS. We use an LMS, which is Moodle is our LMS. And we were just looking at a statistic earlier today, 8,595 educational institutions use Moodle. It's free, and that's one reason why we have it. And data storage, I just mentioned that. Google gives us unlimited. I'd like to try to drive us to Google. Other schools districts are driving everybody to store into Google. We kind of blend both of them right now. We have some storage back here, lots of it. And we also can get unlimited storage from Google. That's it. Technology at Buckeye.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, just as you move more to Google and GAF, a couple questions on that. There's 2 schools in the county that are GAF. I mean, one.
Highland
and Buckeye, right?
Highland uses it. I think Brunswick uses it. No, this list that I gave you right there is one that I found for the Akron GAF user group. They may not be members.
Okay. I was just wondering why the other ones wouldn't.
Yeah, I didn't research it. Very difficult on who it was or calling it.
How about security? I mean, as we go to cloud apps and start storing stuff off-site, I mean,
Our security right now, well, Google guarantees security. Nothing's really secure. And this is student stuff right now. That is, I don't know how secure we need to keep that stuff. But Google says it's secure. Everything goes up there encrypted. So, and it's 64-bit encryption that's going on there at the very minimum. I don't see security as an issue relative to that. Any other thing that other security is always guided through filtering that comes through Neonet. Now that's a different kind of security, if that's the one you're talking about.
both.
Well, yeah, there's 2 types of security that you want to talk about. And that is we've got a filtering process of IP information that comes into us. That would be the web stuff coming into us. All of these online programs I talked about, those are all encrypted moving out. I don't see any of it as an issue right now. I can't control what our IP stuff is, but I know that everything that's stored is encrypted through Google, and everything that is stored is encrypted when you do your email, even through the Exchange servers. That's all being encrypted as it's sent up through Neonet.
And we got filters set up on the
They have the filter. They do all of our filtering. We pay for that filtering.
from Neonet.
From Neonet. Not all 40 districts use it. Don't want to be without it, ever. Any other questions?
The county has a fiber loop that comes up the street here.
Yes, they do.
We are not connected to
They're
that.
not connected to it.
Is that something we should be looking at?
We did look at that. I spent a lot of time looking at that. It really, the cost per gigabit wasn't equivalent to what we can get through our current loop. Yeah.
And if I can also address that, because I've been involved in meetings recently with the Port Authority, who was the original creator of the fiber loop throughout Medina County. There has recently been a big push to try to get all of the, well, any organizations in Medina County on the fiber loop, and what they're looking at, as you just mentioned, is the cost. And I think we've all indicated a very great interest in being a part and being on the fiber loop. We've all indicated it needs to be cost effective for us. It doesn't make any sense for us to pay more to be involved in the fiber loop when we're getting that service right now through Neonet, and it's very reliable right now through Neonet, at a cost that right now is less than what the county can provide to us through the fiber loop. However, we have indicated a great interest in, actually, Medina County Port Authority is working closely with Neonet right now to try to address that issue, to see if they can get it to the point that it would be cost effective for all the school districts in Medina County. That loop was built with the schools in mind, that it actually runs by every street,
Those wires run right now. Those
in the
2
county.
fiber run right on the same pole. I looked at the price coming across the road. There would be $22,000 a drop into the market. At that time, that was 2 years ago.
And they're talking right now, how do they do that for us for no cost? Because the Port Authority wants it to be here, and we want it to be here, but they're trying to figure out how they can do it for us.
And our key is, as long as we are tied to Neonet, that is an important leg for that. That fiber can go anywhere I want, but I need it to go to Neonet.
And the last meeting we had, there is actually a loop that runs close to Neonet that they're talking about hooking Neonet into the fiber ring for Medina County, which is located in Cobb Falls and Summit County.
Yeah, we don't want to consider it until that action takes place, unless we move away from these. Another discussion.
Anything else? Any other questions? I would like to take just a moment and thank you and the rest of your department for the assistance that you gave this board and the treasurer in the last month and a half. Greatly appreciate what you put together.
It's our job. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I guess we're on the superintendent's recommendation.
All right, thank you very much. Starting under 13, I'll start with A, approval to purchase summer school license. We do have a summer school program at Buckeye High School in which we use Plato Learning as the learning platform for our students. I would ask for you to approve the purchase of those licenses again for summer school we've used for several years. Each license costs $300 and a total cost of $9,000. And as a side, that cost is passed along to our students. We do have a summer school program in which the students pay for their summer school classes. B is an approval for the Buckeye Schools calendar. We did bring the calendar last month to you, and I'm asking for your approval again of that calendar. We made a slight adjustment in some of the language where we talked about the difference between professional development and in-service days, and we wanted to clarify the difference between those. So we have made that change on that copy that I'm bringing to you today, as well as the backside of that calendar that we would ask for your approval of as well. C is the preschool student parent handbook. For 2015-16, we made just a slight adjustments to the preschool handbook. We'll bring that to you for your approval today. Also, a contract agreement with Medina City for the civil service test. When we have employees who need to take the civil service test, particularly for clerical positions, we ask them to take the civil service exam through Medina City, so that approving that contract will allow us to continue to use Medina City to administer the civil service exam. E is what we just talked about just now. That's our yearly annual contract with NeoNet that allows us to continue to receive technology services for and through NeoNet beginning July 1, 2015 and ending June 30th, 2020. A copy of this agreement will be in the Treasurer's office. My next item, F, is a memorandum of understanding. We are all pretty familiar with post-secondary option for our high school students. They have changed the name of that to College Credit Plus. Thank you. This agreement is with the University of Akron, Lorain County Community College, and Cuyahoga Community College in order for our students to take college courses through College Credit Plus with those institutions. And then my final item under that section G, we have a tenant in Litchfield Elementary School right now in the Litchfield Daycare Preschool. There has been a request that during the months of June, July, and August, when their population decreases and their ability to generate revenue during the summer decreases, they have asked us for consideration of a reduction in their rent there. We very much appreciate their being tenants out there and want to keep them as tenants in that building. So I would bring to you a recommendation today to reduce their rent by $1,000 during the months of June, July, and August with that rent back to its original price in September. So those are my items under that section.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Petek, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Mattson, discussion. Any discussion? It's interesting reading the preschool handbook. That's always great reading. The memorandum of understanding, it is interesting how each one of them is a little bit different at each one of those universities. And the reduction in the Litchfield daycare, that is a building that we do have, and I feel as though it is important to keep a tenant in the building. Anytime a building is left totally vacant, you have a lot of problems. But we will have to determine what we're going to do with that building in the future. So that's something I have on that. Any other discussion?
I had a question about the College Credit Plus. Does that cost the district any money when the kids are taking those?
Carolyn, would you like to address that?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What is the cost, I'll rephrase it, what is the cost of our district per student? For the college credit?
I can't answer per student.
Okay.
I can tell you that this costs our district approximately $9,000 a month this year for the students that's coming from our foundation dollars. So about $9,000 comes out of our foundation dollars.
State foundation.
And will that change?
Absolutely. It will increase.
More students we have, the more money we pay?
Absolutely. It is per student, but I don't have the exact per student. Depends on how many college credits they take, which place they take them. But I know it's $46.20 per twice a month, so 92.
Well, and do you mind if I add to that? There, as a matter of information from a standpoint of the new College Credit Plus, and this is interesting, and I think our families need to know, and we have been communicating this and advertising, that the post-secondary program used to be 9th through 12th grade, and they've added in College Credit Plus 7th and 8th graders. So junior high students can now, if they take the ACT and achieve a score high enough on the ACT, they can also begin taking college credits at the 7th and 8th grade level now. So that's a factor that has gone into this that potentially could cost our district more money, but it also is obviously a very beneficial piece for our junior high students to potentially take advantage of.
But they also max out though too, don't they? Don't they just get 30 credit hours and that's it? Oh, they can keep going?
Yes. We've had students that have graduated with their associate's degree at the same time they're graduating high school with their high school degrees. So, yes, there is no max.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Heaton. Mattson?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Siselic?
Yes.
Barko?
Yes. Personnel.
Yes, thank you. My first item under personnel, we have a yearly exercise in which we suspend the contracts of some of our hourly and tutor employees. That is to assure that the funding for those programs is secured for the following year. So every year we suspend these contracts, and then once the funding is secured, we bring those folks back. So that's my first item, would be my recommendation for you to suspend those contracts. Number two is an inactive status. This has been a yearly item on our agenda. Ms. Barb Weinstein was an employee who went out on disability, and until her official retirement, she needs to continue as an active employee, and we need to approve her disability status and inactive status on a yearly basis until such time that she retires. Number three would be a new continuing contract issued with the 15-16 school year for Jody McGinnis. Number four is the item that we have made the decision at this point. I'd like to explain this. For the one-year contracts, the law has changed with regards to the evaluation requirements for our teachers on a one-year contract. It is much more intensive and much more involved. And the law has changed to give our administrators more time to conduct these evaluations. So I would ask is that we remove that agenda item from our agenda this month and bring it back next month in May to assure that our principals have had enough time to complete the evaluations for those individuals listed for a one-year contract. Number five would be the non-renewal extended time contracts, and this is similar to item number three. Every year we evaluate the need for extended time contracts for our employees, and every year at the end of the year, and again this is the item that we needed to correct to 14-15 school year. So we would be non-renewing those extended time contracts, and then at a later time in the future, as we determine the needs for those folks, we would come back to you with a recommendation to assign the appropriate number of extended days for the new school year for those individuals listed. Number six is employment. I would ask that you approve the hiring of Mr. Joe Fabian. He has been a long-term substitute for us this year. He has done an absolutely wonderful job in that position. The reason he was on a long-term substitute contract this year is because we hired him late in the summer last year, actually close to the beginning of the school year. And as a result of that, we put him on a one-year substitute contract. He has done a wonderful job for us. We posted the position, and he was a successful candidate to keep that job or to be assigned that job. And this also was a correction that he would be at step 2, Masters plus 30 limited contract, 1 year limited contract. Number 7 is a resignation. It is with a heavy heart that we bring this one. Mr. Jeff Smith, who is with us today, who has been with our district for many, many years, currently the junior high principal. Mr. Smith has asked that you accept his resignation this evening for the purposes of retirement at the end of this school year. We thank you and thank you for all your service and wish you the best of luck. And although you'll be retiring, I'm sure you won't be going away, and we'll continue to have lots of communication with you. Likewise, Ms. Elsie Jenkins, who is a Title I tutor at Buckeye Junior High, has also asked that you consider her resignation for the purposes of retirement. And again, we congratulate her and wish her the best of luck in her retirement. And again, Mr. Gary Cox, again, same, junior high science teacher. He has done a wonderful job for us, and he also has asked for you to accept his resignation for the purposes of his retirement, and we wish him the best of luck. We have a correction for you. Denise Stewart, an intermediate school teacher, we had a resignation date for her that was after June 1st, and she has asked us if we would correct that and make that resignation for purposes of retirement effective May 31st, as opposed to after June 1st. So I bring that back to you to correct that retirement date. Summer school at Buckeye High School, this goes along with my item under recommendations. We have several individuals who supervise and who also work with our students to administer the online classes and grade the individual's work that needs to be done. Those individuals would be paid a stipend of $25 an hour, not to exceed $750. That would be Amanda Hogue and Jody McGinnis, our counselors, as well as Mr. George Cease, a math teacher, and Mr. Dan Flood, our assistant principal, who would oversee that summer school program. And again, our students are charged for that, and we do our best to make that a self-funding summer school program. Under classified, number 1, a resignation for Mr. Tom Thiefel, a bus driver, effective June 30th, a resignation for the purposes of retirement. He has been a bus driver for us for many years, and we wish him the best of luck in his retirement. Michelle Seymour, also a bus driver, has asked us to accept her resignation from her position as a bus driver, effective March 27, 2015. And I bring to you one employment recommendation, Ms. Amy Padulka, who will be a part-time athletic secretary per your approval, effective April 7th, and she'll be paid at step 1 of the building secretary salary schedule on a limited...
For a 1-year probationary at 3 hours per day.
Okay, very good, thank you. Item C, resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following classified substitutes to work on an as-needed basis, Ms. Judy McCord and Amy Padulka. And then D, again, we needed to adjust that date on there as 14-15 school year. We want to thank Robert and Renee, who have requested to be volunteers with our junior high and high school track program. We always appreciate and thank those volunteers that come out and work with our students for the sheer joy and pleasure of working with our students. And then Ms. Gail Telford, we received a grant from the United Way to run our program with our students, and they have made a donation to our school district in order to compensate Ms. Telford for her time in working with our students in that program. And that would be in 2 equal installments paid of $645.59, and that's after taxes and other fees are taken out of that donation. And those are my items this evening.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Stahl, is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Solch. And any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Wait a second.
Oh,
Mr. Smith, thank you for your service to us. You've been a good guy. Thank you. And two more things. Go ahead. Can you tell us what Mrs. Telford does with Me By the Way?
Yeah, this is a mentor program that she works with that United Way approached us about running in our district. United Way has a new funding model in which they have dedicated a lot of their funds towards youth and youth in our community. And that was a program that they approached us with some additional mentoring in our district.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Stahl?
Yes.
Williams? Siselig?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Teton?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes. Board comments. That's
I just wanted to say the exact same thing. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for all your years of service. Really, very easy to work with at junior high. I think you did a great job. And I wanted to congratulate everybody else that is able to retire. Thank you.
Mr. Stahl?
Thank you, Deputy Easterday, the DARE program. Another great year. Mr. Smith, 87, did you start? 86. So, you look pretty much the same.
I don't go back there.
Pretty much. Congratulations, thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, congratulations. Happy for you. And same thing, Deputy Easterday, thank you for the program you run. Mr. Kearns, for the presentation. Thank you for the good job you do. I personally never have any problems, so that's a good thing. I don't use it, so no, you do a wonderful job, and I hear that with good comments. Great job supporting the teachers.
Well, I'd just like to say that we have a lot of great employees in this district, a lot of good things going on, the technology, and I'm very pleased that teachers are utilizing that technology. That is a big thing for me. And I'd like to congratulate all of those who have gotten to the time of retirement. This is a time when there are a lot of retirements because of the changes in Ohio law. That's why we're changing dates and stuff to get them correct, because they're changing that too. But congratulations to all of you. And at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of employment. Can I have a motion to that effect? Mr. Kutek, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stahl? Any discussion on that? Roll
For
call.
reason of employment. Teton?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Siselig?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
And the time is 8:22.
And we do not expect any decisions to be made tonight. Thank you.